Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to Tony the Technician channel. And today we're going to be going into an Amazon tool haul for my new job. So if you guys follow the channel, you guys might have known that I did NHRA professional drag racing as a mechanic for a few years, and I really enjoyed it. But last year during COVID, everything got a little bit ridiculous with the amount of work, and it didn't financially make sense for the amount of work that I was doing for what they were offering. I just couldn't justify it, plus being away from family for 200 days out of the year, basically. It was a little rough. So I wasn't even really looking for a job. I was furloughed, and it just kind of fell in my lap. I have a brand new car that unfortunately got damaged. I had a ding about the size of a dime one day, and I have OCD, so it really bothered me. I called around to about 8 places. Collision centers just always bring in a guy to do paintless dent repair. Well, I finally found a place, standalone shop. They also do mobile stuff, and I went there, and he fixed my car in like 10 minutes, and I talked to him for like an hour and a half, and it's a fellow veteran, so me and him really clicked right off the bat. He owns his own business. And he let me come in that next day and see if I liked it. He had me push some dents, see how my hand-eye coordination was, and I really enjoyed it. So I started training with him, and it just kind of fell in my lap. Now I gotta stay home with family. I gotta be here more for my son that's 3, almost 4, and it's just a time in my life where I need to be home, and I need to be financially stable. I've never not been financially stable, so I'm gonna keep it that way. So I found something that I really enjoyed. Something good came out of a bad situation. So now, unfortunately, the last 5 years, I've spent myself prepping for mechanics, automotive mechanics, and now I'm still in the automotive field, but it's pushing dents, so it's a little bit different. I still use quite a few of the tools, but the specialty tools for actually removing dents is a whole nother thing. And when getting into PDR tools, it's kind of like Snap-on tools, but for the PDR world. If you get the good quality stuff, you're going to be paying for it. So I've been picking up stuff just slowly, little things here and there to prepare myself for when I start pushing dents professionally and full time. So I'm going to bring you guys in so you guys can see these tools that I picked up, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Some of it is automotive tools, so if you're interested, I'll post some of them down in the description for you guys, and I really hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into this. First up on my tool haul is something called Tessa Tape. This looks a lot like electrical tape, but it is actually a fabric material. You can't rip this like electrical tape. You have to cut it. This is actually used for wrapping up wiring harnesses. Usually if you get it off of a PDR site, it's about $10 to $15 a roll, I want to say, but if you buy it anywhere else, I got $10 for 3 rolls, so that's the way I went. So this is a really good addition. I'll show you kind of what we use it for here in a second. I also picked up a couple of straps. These are ratcheting rope straps, and these things are fantastic for holding hoods and rear hatches and everything. So you feed the rope through here, it ratchets, here's the release. You hook this on, let's say, the trunk lid, and this down where it latches. You got your prop rod in there to hold the trunk open, and then you tighten it down with this in order to prevent the hood or trunk from moving. So these are really handy, or if you're taking the door off of the car to push a dent and you have a work table to put it on, you can strap it down that way as well. So these are the original rope ratchet, and I have a lot of other tools already. I'll get into those later on, but these are just from this recent tool haul. This is a window guard. You use this along with a window wedge. You slide this down between the window and the actual door skin, and you put your wedge in here, careful, and it protects you from when you're sliding your tool down the door and into the skin of the door to push the dent out. It keeps your tool from hitting the window, and kind of keeps your tools away from the important stuff, because the last thing you want to do is break glass. So it is a hard material on this side. This is the side that your tool will be against, and then on the back side, the part that is up against the window, is a nice soft felt, so it doesn't go scratching it up. And then you have a bend at the top to prevent it from sliding down into the door. I got myself a couple of S hooks. I believe these were like $2 or $3, but they're heavy duty, and basically what this is for, I also have a ring style, I'll show you guys later on. You hook this in any like inner portion, let's say the trunk lid or the hood or anything like that, you can hook this into the metal material, and you can use your tool here to get yourself leverage in order to push dents from behind. And as I've learned, it's not just magic, and like my boss said, there's no magic plunger that you just go out and get and just start popping dents out and they're good to go. It's a lot of tedious work and very detailed work. So I have this fancy tool. This is a door jammer. They have a more expensive version. This was $25. It's made in the USA. And then they have one that's like billet aluminum and all fancy and anodized for $50. I'm just trying to get into this. This is already a highly rated tool for $25. I didn't think spending another $25 for the same tool, just better quality, which isn't necessarily necessary. So I went with this one. So this goes into the inner portion of the door jamb, and around the locking portion, you just loosen these butterfly nuts, put that around there, tighten them down, and then this portion actually slides into the hook in the door. So it keeps the door open and it keeps it from shutting, and so you're able to go in through maybe a wiring harness or a hole already in the side. You remove the cap, you go in through there and you try and push your dents through there, and it keeps the door from shutting or opening. You don't have to sit there and hold the door physically. This does the job for you. One of my first tools that I purchased, I am slowly working on building my tools for pushing dents. This is one of the smallest tools that I've used in training, and it was really handy. And I want to say it was around $22. I want to say that this is the original Klein handle, but it is from Dent Craft Tools. It's a very popular professional PDR tool brand that sells a lot of stuff. It does say made in the USA, and it is just a 2-inch 90-degree pushing rod. So it's very handy, especially when you have to get directly on something and push, and you can't really get any leverage, but you can still get in there and push with this. This is a really nice tool to have. It is one of the primary tools. This is a knockdown. So not only are we working from inside the body panels, pushing the dents back out, but sometimes you have to lift a dent past its level point and knock it back down. That's the best way to get the dent removed. And then sometimes with larger dents, and depending on the shape of the dent, you get crowning or hard creases. So if you have a dent here, it might fold the metal and push the metal up into a point, and you might be able to come in here and push and get some of that metal pushed out. Not all the way, but that metal's really going to be bunched up here, so you got to come in and strategically place your knockdown and knock that crown down to relieve some of the pressure on that low spot, so you can keep lifting the low spot out. So with these, you get this. You can get these in aluminum, plastic, steel. This is the aluminum 4-inch one, red anodized, and you get various different tips. They have hundreds of different tips, material types and everything, plastic, rubber, steel, a lot of different tips. It all just depends on what you're trying to knock down, whether it's specific points, so you're going to use a sharper point, or if you're trying to knock down big fat crowns, you're going to use something more like this to try and move more surface area. Sometimes you'll use these on the end of specific pushing rods in order to push from the back if you don't want to push with a real fine tip. This is a metal ball end, and then if these are very handy, but sometimes you don't want that metal ball end because it can be too aggressive sometimes, and that's where Tessa Tape comes in, and you can wrap this around the end of your tool or any of your prying tools. You can wrap that around there if the end is too sharp, and you can kind of soften it up a little bit so you don't create pinpoint highs. And then I just have a couple flat-ended tips here. I also bought this Dent Craft tip holder, and it holds 20 tips. Well, I saw the red anodized. I was like, oh, it matches my knockdown. Well, what do you know? Me, the guy that, tells you to pay attention when buying tools and really do your research. Well, I saw this, and I saw a tip holder. I was like, okay, that's the tip holder for that. I was like, all right, I'll get it. Well, this is for 3/8 tips, and these are not 3/8. So instead of sending it back and trying to find the correct one, all I did was drill out and retap the holes. I've done half of them so far. I'm going to do a video on using a tap. and all of that. So I did half of the thing, just enough to hold the tips that I have now, and we'll get into that later. So once again, I still made a mistake. Next up is an inverter. For right now, I'll be doing mobile work. I have a cordless glue gun, but I also have a corded glue gun for glue pulling. I also have a heat gun and a drill and cordless ratchet, and all of those require batteries. And my car does not have a outlet or enough power to power certain things. So I went and got this just 300 watt power inverter. I want to say it was 30 bucks. I have a spot right in the back of my SUV where this will plug in, and I can hook up my chargers or whatever necessary right here, and it has 2 USB spots as well. So if you guys want to see any more in-depth reviews on any of these tools, please just let me know below. Then I went ahead and bought one of the famous Amazon specials on the 3-inch polishing pads. You get a variety of different grades of pads. You got finishing pads and a medium finishing polishing pad, and just a various amount of different pads. I'll primarily be using the black finishing pads and the orange, because the orange is semi-soft. You can do a minor cutting with it, more like polishing and good finishing as well. I won't be using the little wool pads, but it does come with the 3-inch backing plates as well as the little adapters, so you can throw it in your drill or your polisher, cordless polisher. So I'll be using that as well. I want to say that kit was, I don't know, 15 bucks maybe. And then last item up is the OEM tools. This is the 4-piece seal and O-ring removal set, 25429. This was $16, I believe. And you get two 5.5 inch spoons and two 8.5 inch spoons. So what you're going to have here, instead of your standard pick set, this is good for removing seals and O-rings. What do you know? Well, you have a straight and an angled, and you got that spoon tip on there. And then you have longer ones as well. The handles are decent. They're rubberized plastic. You do see some molding and injection spots. Nothing, you know, super fancy, but they are sturdy. They feel good, and I won't be using these for O-rings and seals. I will be using these for the edges of doors where you got caps covering holes, manufactured holes in the doors and certain panels, as well as bolt covers. You know, on the door panels, you got your door handle on the inside, and sometimes behind it you got a little cap that covers up a bolt. Sometimes those can be a pain to get out. These get in there and just real easily pop them out. Same thing with small panels, getting behind them to get the clips released or anything like that. Smaller plastic panels on rear deck lids or hatches. The great thing about these is they're a lot safer and easier to use than a standard pick set, where a pick, if you're trying to jam between 2 pieces of plastic and get in a crack, sometimes you can deform the plastic. If you slip, you scratch it. Here, you're a lot less likely to do that, and it makes it a whole lot easier. So that is my Amazon tool haul for today for my new job, and I can't wait to get started. Actually, by the time this video is out, I've already been started and probably been doing it a few months. So I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, please make sure to hit that thumbs up. Leave a comment down below of your guys' thoughts on these tools and my new position at the new job. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. See you guys next time.